So we're gonna share this camera now. So I'm gonna introduce you guys.
Oh, this is gonna take a minute. I hate being on camera so fucking much.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Of course. Alright,
well, we're doing a movie review with you.
I'm glad you got into this.
I'm going in. I'm just
Because
going
for like
for
the
it.
next 4 hours.
Oh, oof.
Just gonna have to get used to it, buddy.
No choice, huh?
No choice, pal.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Hi, I'm John Morgan, and welcome to Cinema Obscura. I'm here with my friends Anthony Del Grosso and Michael. What's your last name?
Ray.
Michael Ray.
Wow. You asshole.
Fucking.
R-A-Y.
For today's episode, we're watching the theatrical version of Blade Runner.
New climate, recreational facility.
They don't advertise for killers in a newspaper. That was my profession. Ex-cop. Ex-Blade Runner. Ex-killer.
We can get into our pre-watch discussion now.
Yeah.
So, the primary differences between Blade Runner, the final cut, which came out in 2007, and Blade Runner, the theatrical cut, which came out in 1982, is that the primary revisions were made after the work print was screened as a midnight movie by some folks that were very interested in getting a screen. I forgot who. But they basically turned it into a midnight screening where they presented it as the director's cut of Blade Runner, and it was before Ridley Scott had any say in what his director's cut was. It was the work print, what he had basically imagined the film being, before it got into the hands of the distributors. And got
The most fun.
Yes, this is it.
It looks like it has different font on the cover.
That and
It
also.
looks like less special.
Yeah,
it's
just
boring,
like- it's like boring,
less
yeah.
things on
Oh
it.
wait! But it's got the red tower.
Oh, that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
look at that. That's the spice.
The theatrical cut of Blade Runner is the original release on VHS that we have, which actually does have never before released scenes of graphic violence that were edited out of the theatrical release. Exclamation.
So the theatrical
There's a
cut
warning.
isn't even the theatrical cut.
So the actual thing that was played in theaters.
Is
Can you even watch that anymore?
I don't know if the original print was ever distributed for mass consumption after the theatrical release, but this was the first video release.
Right.
And it's like the closest to theatrical, I guess.
Yeah.
Just as,
So now, there have been several iterations, and since the release of Blade Runner, which was pretty critically panned and pretty much considered a flop,
pretty lackluster.
it became a midnight movie when they released the work print as the director's cut, and then Ridley Scott ended up coming back
So
in the early
when
90s
did-
to Warner Brothers to do a director's cut.
So when did they the work print for a while was the director's cut?
The work print had circulated basically as the working director's cut that people didn't get to see in
and then they made
theaters.
this
making a bunch of different little changes.
Now, and the bigger drastic changes between Blade Runner and as we know it now as the director's cut, which ended up becoming the final cut later in 2007, is just that it's the theatrical cut has a voiceover in it, which is
what I'm really excited about because I've heard some clips of it, and it just really removes you from the movie.
He's so detached.
It sounds like Harrison Ford is super fucking bored.
I didn't know whether Leon gave Holden a legit address. But it was the only lead I had, so I checked it out.
He's just like, these are the things that they're telling me to read. Okay,
like
great.
Deckard's already
he almost does it as a parody.
all the
really.
scenes
well, it's like
that
Deckard's already
people
kind of
talk
an
about
attached
now.
person, and that's kind of his character throughout, and he's kind of coming to grips with this humanity and things. But he is so much farther detached as a narrator. He just sounds like a corpse.
Whatever was in the bathtub was not human. Replicants don't have scales. And family photos? Replicants didn't have families either.
He's
I
not
think,
like charming at all. Like it's just like he like came in on a weekend and it's like they're writing it next to him.
Well,
So this film actually got its dues when it was released on video in 1997.
This huge, grandiose, epic sci-fi film of all sci-fi films.
And it was a dud when it was first released.
Nobody cared.
Huge
And then
movie.
on VHS it was like gobbled up.
And
Yeah,
like the
ridiculous.
worst way to see it too, like in a pan and scan,
Yeah.
4x3, like less than standard def version of this movie.
But you know what's confusing is that the director's cut here is 117 minutes, and the theatrical version here is also
Well, I think that
117 minutes.
maybe these like other graphic scenes make up for that.
Yeah.
Because these might just be like really long takes of
'Cause-
things
yeah.
and just
That's also
violence
not
and
even
stuff.
just the regular theatrical cut. It's the theatrical cut with
Plus
added violence.
bonus stuff.
Yeah, because it literally says like with
Like-
more violence.
Like I'm interested to see like is the theatrical cut even worth it
Well, and like
Like,
okay, so
at all?
one of my things about like the new Blade Runner, it's a sequel.
2049.
It's a sequel to Blade Runner, right? It's a sequel to this.
Wait, the new film?
Yeah, but which one is it a sequel to? Is it a sequel? Obviously, it's a sequel to the final cut from 2007.
The final cut is the final word and the final
and that's
nail
what
in
this
the
is.
coffin.
Yes,
That's-
this is a sequel to that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't think
Right.
Ridley Scott
So-
would be attached to that one if it didn't
Right.
include
So now,
that
my big
stuff.
question here is like when you see videos about it, like video essays, or they talk about Blade Runner in like college, they talk about how visually amazing it is, and you can still see that. I've seen clips from the theatrical cut, and I think I've seen like clips of it on Spike. Like they'll play it all the time on
The
TV.
theatrical
They
version?
play the theatrical version on TV all the time, which is really weird.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't
my-
even know if that's theatrical. That might just be some version, they've
So-
cobbled together.
So like my thing is like when the director's cut came out and when the the 2007 final cut version came out, he did a lot of post production work on it to make it look better.
Yeah, they matted
Right.
the
Yes,
original
they
actress's
matted it.
face
Yeah, there's-
onto the stunt person.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of digital work in the 2007 version. It looks perfect, but it's not from 1982. There's so many times that you hear people talk about it, and they're like, "Oh my God, look how visually perfect this is for the time period." When really, you're watching the 2007 movie of a movie from the 80s that was hated.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the theatrical version, and I think we're gonna see definitely that the visual effects even then were startlingly amazing.
Yeah.
Even when it was the original optical versions, without the cleanup work that they did later with the final cut. I don't know if they did any of that kind of dissection later when they did the director's cut. I think they maybe regraded some things, but I don't think they actually went in with
Right.
with any
A fine
computers
tooth
by that
comb,
point.
yeah.
That was too early.
Well, I'm interested to see if the theatrical cut has any merits. Like, do you have to watch it? Because there's like 7 different cuts of this
Yeah,
movie. There's
there's-
so many different versions.
God
Is
damn.
this one that you should check out just because it was theatrical?
Here we go.
This does really look
That
good.
does look great though. Even though this is the work, this is the theatrical cut. God fucking.
So now, of course, we are watching this again as a frame of reference and to prepare ourselves
Yeah.
for the release of the new Blade Runner film that's coming out, which is going to be directed by Denis Villeneuve and stars Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, who's reprising his role as Deckard. And the huge question is ultimately, in all this time, it's been unanswered.
In 30
Is
years.
Deckard is he a replicant? And Ridley Scott upheld the truth that he was a replicant.
Yeah.
That's abundantly clear in the final cut, which the real connection is there's a sequence where Harrison Ford dreams of a unicorn.
Yeah.
It's omitted from the theatrical cut, but
No
when you watch
mention of that.
you watch the director's cut, and the first few times I watched the film, I remember it hitting me, but it acted sort of like it's the subconscious thing that was happening, and I wasn't really fully conscious of it while it was happening because I was so immersed in the tone of the scene.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the film, you see the origami sculpture that was made by Gaff, played by Edward James Olmos, and it's
dropped all along.
yeah, and he's leaving these little icons and signifiers and clues for Deckard to pick up, and he sees the subconscious unicorn appear at his
Yeah.
door. It's a message to say that's an implant, that's a dream.
Yeah.
What are you? What is living? All of this. It's all tied to the deeper core. That's ultimately what makes the final cut work. Is that it's tied to this idea of what makes us human. The real question is, if we learn that Harrison Ford is not human in the movie, then what is at this point? Who in the movies is suspectedly human ultimately?
Well, because the weird thing about the movie is that throughout it, like, he starts out very distant, removed from everybody,
Yeah.
classic noir, protagonist. But throughout it, he starts building connections with these people. He starts to think that the other replicants can feel things and whatnot. And at the end, after he's, kind of gained his humanity, boom, he's not even a human. but he's gotten it. I like
Does that add anything? That's ultimately
know,
the
that's
real
the
question.
thing.
Does it add
I don't know
anything?
if him being a replicant matters at all. That's why I don't really care about that whole debate.
I think
but
it's cool.
I like the humanity aspects of the whole film, and him not being a human or being a human doesn't matter.
What-
It doesn't detract from
What it
that.
is?
What I think it adds to is kind of like he's forced to hunt his own kind while being manipulated into thinking he's not one of them. Right?
Sure.
And that's terribly tragic, and that adds a lot.
Well,
Now,
it's
whether
kind
or
of
not it
comic
really
cons.
works, yeah, it's kind of like the Son
Yeah.
of Saul's,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, the question is do I fucking buy that he was thinking that the whole time? No, not at all. It feels kind of like
And after
through editing, they were able to make that work, and it's better. It's a better ending. But I don't
Oh,
buy
yeah.
it. I don't buy that he was like always wanting to do that. I think that over time he got to work on his masterpiece because this is Ridley Scott's best film. Ridley Scott's not that great. He's got some really good stuff, but all in all, good God, Alien Covenant. He wasn't the director, but he was involved. Prometheus also bad. I know you guys both like that, but
I like
It's
Prometheus.
fine. It's a good
hate
movie.
that.
The reason why I like Prometheus, and I'll just add this really quick. Now, we're not talking about Prometheus.
Not talking about Prometheus.
You're not pulling
Now,
us down.
my big question about the new Blade Runner movie is,
Yeah.
it feels like the only reason it's being made is because Harrison Ford is still alive. He is old.
Well,
Star Wars did well, and like this is now popular because of the final cut.
what I was saying before.
Right? I don't really like. I'm a huge Blade Runner fan, and I feel like I should be very excited, but I'm not. Like I'm gonna go see
excited.
it. I'm gonna go see it.
I think Denis Villeneuve is going to
Yeah, he's an amazing director, and I'm sure this is going to be a good movie. But it's just another example of them saying like, oh, here's something popular then.
Yeah, they're
Here's another
recycling the
sequel.
brand.
Hey,
and
Harrison
yeah.
Ford, do you want to reprise another one of your famous characters?
Yeah.
And now he's going to be doing Star Wars again, this one again, and Indiana Jones again. And how much do you want to bet that he's going to die in these as well? He's going to die in this movie, and he's going to die in the next
We
movie.
didn't mean that, Mr. Ford.
Well,
No, I'm not saying he's going to die in real life.
No.
He's going to die in both of the movies. Like,
No.
he'll die in the next Indiana Jones
No.
movie because he's old, and he's going to die in this new Blade Runner movie. I'm calling it. He's old. That's like what happens when you're an old actor. They're like, well, what happens next? What? He's going to die. You should probably have him act that. You know, I don't...
just to explain it when
Just-
it happens.
yeah.
We don't be caught off guard. We don't have to do it off screen because we'll have to talk about it. But regardless, what I was saying before is I think that Blade Runner 2049 is just Star Wars, the Force Awakens 2. You know, it's just
I like
Harrison
this
Ford. Harrison Ford just comes back again.
Yeah.
He does his thing.
Well, I gotta say,
CG remake.
Ford is really consistent. You can't argue that he does a bad job when he shows up in these movies. Even in Ender's Game,
Yeah,
he did a good job.
Crystal Skull.
He was
I have nothing to say about Crystal Skull other than it's an atrocity.
How is he going to do another
Part-time.
Indiana Jones movie?
Why can't he?
And that was a concern for me. It was a concern when he was 55. Is he too old to play Indiana Jones? And he wasn't at 55. And by the way, he sure ain't at 65. And I'm sure he's got another 10 years left in him if he wants to do something like this again.
Anything else you want to add before we get into this mess? It's definitely a mess.
It's exciting though, right?
It's an exciting mess.
So, more to like the fact that there's a second Blade Runner coming out. I just feel like, you know, Blade Runner's Blade Runner. I miss the time.
Blade Runner's Blade Runner.
I miss the days where you could just go watch a movie, get sucked into that world, and then leave and just be like, that was a
But-
great movie. I don't need a cinematic universe for
Ridley-
every
Ridley
single
Scott-
fucking movie.
Ridley Scott couldn't do that with his own movie. I mean, for good reason. The theatrical edition is garbage, and
Mhm.
every other cut did improve on itself and whatnot. But he didn't leave it alone. He didn't just let Blade Runner be Blade Runner.
Well, no, he fought for his version of Blade
Yeah,
Runner.
and now he's the
He didn't
executive
really have to
producer.
fight, did
He's
he?
completely.
Well, I mean, he edited. You know, it came out the way he wanted it.
He
reached
finally
that.
got a release that
So
was
many,
his
so many,
vision.
so many directors never did get final cut, and the
Yeah.
version of their movie
I mean,
is
I just
lost.
think that.
Except for
I
George
think
Lucas
that it's.
Except for George Lucas and fucking Zack Snyder. Was,
and James Cameron.
yeah, and all three
James
of them.
Cameron's
Like,
recut of Aliens is great.
and director's cut to them just means more.
The final cut of Blade Runner is great,
Yeah.
but then
George
Lucas.
George Lucas Lucas just runs
You
away
think
with it.
George Lucas is super angry that his special edition isn't as lauded and as appreciated as something like Blade Runner?
I think he probably thinks. I think he, if you watch the second prequel, Attack of the Clones, Coruscant. Well, no, actually, even the first one, Coruscant looks like, Blade Runner. Yeah, a very cheap,
car,
like Windows
floaty
98
things
back
around.
like
Yeah.
screensaver.
Everyone's flying
Yeah.
spinners. There's a lot of air traffic.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really weird.
I shouldn't have done that.
Nothing tops Fifth Element though, and how they were influenced.
Oh, it's
But
I love
that
that
Fifth
film.
Element
It's
was
also
good,
fun.
though.
It
It
takes
was
it so
interesting.
it's like a very it's so weird because it like it
It
every
feels like a comic book or something.
I'm very excited to see the man in the dress running through the glass in the theatrical cut because apparently it's comically bad
Well, we'll see that.
because they fixed it and made it look perfect and seamless in the
Was it a
final
man?
cut.
I thought it was still a woman. They just totally looked
I don't know. I'm hoping that it's a very obvious stuntman in a dress who just had a cigarette.
You thought you could outwit the imperious forces? You idiots! These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles!
All right, let's just watch this.
Oh yeah, we got to do the thing.
I personally.
You're not a fan of the spin.
I really don't care.
Let's.
Whoa!
Whoa!
I'm just game.
Whoa! It could be a still frame that's just spinning. Whoa! Hey, there we go. Okay, yeah, we
You
got
guys
it.
are like grabbing something. I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just kinda-
backpedaling.
It's the wheel. So we're back from watching it. We had a long day yesterday just trying to get all of this set up. And so when we got around to actually...
I mean, you got some sleep in though.
Yeah.
He has like a very nice apartment. Like his kitchen's super cool. Hey John,
It's
don't
super
fucking
nice.
fall asleep, John.
The early version of Photoshop was hell.
34 to 36. Pull back. Wait a minute. Go right. Stop. Enhance 5719. Track 45 left. Stop. Enhance 15 to 23. Give me a hard copy right there.
I would like to say that he's the only one that fell asleep.
Only one.
So apparently he had a longer day than everybody else.
I did. I was up earlier than you guys.
But he rewatched it on his own.
I did.
Finished it.
I redeemed myself. I
Yeah.
watched it. And I'd seen the theatrical cut before,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
coming in again and after so long after seeing theatrical cut versus the final cut so many times, which I'm more accustomed to, the differences were so much more jarring and apparent when I
Yeah.
was watching it this time. We're talking about the voiceover, and do you want to see the actual
yeah,
voiceover
go ahead.
lines that were from the movie? Here's a list of voiceovers according to wikiquote.org.
Oh, very reputable source.
Wikiquote.
Used constantly.
They also have an image of a blade, just a blade, a knife blade, in the corner there on the Blade Runner page, with the quote saying that replicants are like any other machine, they're either a benefit or a hazard.
It's very poetic.
Yes.
Classic Blade reference.
Yeah, because sometimes blades cut vegetables, and other times they hurt people.
Voiceovers. Here's a list of voiceovers. These were expunged from the director's version, and it's been said that both Scott and Ford were unhappy with the dialogue as it was forced by the studio and was written by another scriptwriter, Roland Kibbe. And I looked up Roland Kibbe to see what he did. His earliest film was Night in Casablanca with the Marx Brothers back in 1946.
Cut him up a little, Kurt. I shall enjoy watching. It will soothe me to see someone in pain. Oh, no, you...
Not very sporting to fire on an unarmed opponent.
Oh my God.
And by around the time he came to working on the film, which was 1982, his last credits were the Barney Miller TV series. He did a few episodes of that. Angel on My Shoulder, a TV movie from 1980. And a pilot for a TV series that I don't know if it went to a series called Dear Detective. He wrote one episode, 1979.
Wow.
The obvious choice to fix Blade Runner. Call him up.
Who's he talking to? Salt Lake City.
So they were like, hey, we need you to make these scenes make sense. And he was like,
I think making sense for you.
You know, I can watch the movie and understand what the screen is telling me, so I'm just going to write down what he should just say out loud in hopefully a very monotone voice.
The report would be routine retirement of a replicant, which didn't make me feel any better about shooting a woman in the back. There it was again. Feeling in myself for her.
Oh, like, why do you have to
Rachel.
describe that?
Sushi. That's what my ex-wife called me. Cold fish.
Cold fish!
Yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah,
Part time.
Part-time.
Hard time.
The Jama's name was Gav. I'd seen him around. Brian must have upped him to the Blade Runner unit. That gibberish he was talking was city
City
speak.
speak. Yeah.
Gotta talk.
Yeah. But instead, he goes, city speak! Gotta talk!
I think that Harrison Ford's performance is completely dependent on how interested he is at the moment. Because you look at like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, terrible, so boring.
So
like he's
boring.
bored. He doesn't
Yeah,
want to
he's
be there.
super bored of that
And
one.
old. He looks older then than he does now.
But you watch Force Awakens. He
Yeah.
seems into it. He seems to be having fun.
Yeah.
Having a good old time. And then you watch Ender's Game, and he's flaccid again. He's just like impotent and just
The worst quote here from the voiceovers, I think, is when is the most famous scene in the movie, the Tears in the Rain improvised speech that Rutger Hauer delivers, which is the best scene.
Yeah.
The line was completely improvised, something just sort of sprung from his head, and this is what they follow it up with in the voiceover.
I don't know why he saved my life. Maybe in those last moments he loved life more than he ever had before.
Why did he do that?
Not just his life, anybody's life.
I
My
gave it
life.
more like my life, right?
All he'd wanted were the same answers the rest of us wanted.
Oh my God.
He was just
Where do
like
I
us
come from?
humans.
Why did they
Where
put
am
this
I
in?
going?
Why did, like, who cannot...
How
This is
long
like
have I
in
got?
Star Trek when they're like, oh,
All
he
I
has
could
the
do was sit
ability
there
to
and
sense
watch.
death. You mean like everyone? Like if I'm in a room and someone points a gun at me, I feel like I'm about to die, right?
Done a man's job, sir.
You done that man's job, sir.
Thank you for explaining the scene, Harrison. Thank you.
Alright, now back to the
Just that people
Needed that? Like the studio was like, you really need to spell it out for this audience.
I
He
think
enjoyed his life, even though he was
Don't
old.
you
I
get
think
it?
I think it is a testament that despite this just overwhelmingly poor decision on behalf of the studios to try and involve you in more of the narrative, goes to show that the film did have a resonance despite having these issues. There's
Oh,
something
yeah,
to be
I
said
still
there.
enjoyed it. I mean, I don't think you did. You passed out halfway through.
You know what? I went and I rewatched it, and I was still surprised how much of it still drew me in.
Yeah.
You know, and despite the fact that it has these poor choices, some things being just totally different. Like there's a sound cue in the middle of the interview with Leon, where there's just this beeping, just going and going, and it's totally not in the final
editing
cut.
not Harrison Ford, Holden's voice
Yeah.
and all this.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
weird.
really odd sound cues.
And
Things that just-
distracting.
yeah.
The thing that immediately sucks me out of the movie, though, is when he goes and visits the police chief or the head of the Blade Runner department.
Yeah.
And that.
We'll just run a clip of that.
We'll just run a clip of that.
Sit down, pal. Come on, don't be an asshole, Deckard. I've got 4 skin jobs walking the streets.
Skin jobs. That's what Bryant called replicants. In history books, he's the kind of cop used to call black men niggers.
Jesus Christ.
That.
God, right? What the fuck?
No, you can talk to my attorney. Jamison? Yes, sir. Take that to my lawyers. I'll show you a thing or two. Or 3.
The thing about this scene is, like, obviously, it's trying to tell you, he's bad. He's a bad guy. That guy.
Right.
He's bad.
Baddie?
That's bad, right? That's really, really bad.
I'm watching it and I don't like.
It's bad.
I really feel like you have no real reason to watch it unless you like the fact that Deckard's a human.
Or you like voiceover work. You're like, you know what I really love in movies?
Well, I mean, then you definitely don't
Voice
want
work.
to watch it.
Oh wait,
no,
you
that's
know what we
true.
haven't even discussed at all is the correlation to the Paul W.S. Anderson film Soldier with Kurt Russell, which there is actually a wiki page on.
Wikipedia.
There's a Wikipedia.
Is that a type of Pokemon?
A Wikipedia.
Soldier,
Yeah, there
1998,
you go.
science fiction film directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Classified as a thriller, starred Kurt Russell as a futuristic soldier named Tom. 364. The film also features Jason Scott Lee, Jason Isaacs, Connie Nielsen, and Sean Pertwee.
I wish his name was John.
How
Fisher
bad is
from
that
Mafia.
movie?
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
Soldier's okay. Soldier's just a dumb action movie, like most Paul W.S. Anderson films.
Like, yeah, literally every.
Like the majority.
Every one.
Paul W.S. Anderson is
bad.
also the only film director who I think has actually successfully directed a video game movie, and I'm just counting Resident Evil. I feel like that's the best video game movie so far, and it's not saying a lot. What do you think's the best video game movie?
First of all, I could technically agree with you if you said Mortal Kombat. Resident Evil is a terrible video game movie.
Okay.
Awful. I hate Mila Jovovich.
What do you like about Mortal Kombat over?
It's fun. In Mortal Kombat has the game has no story. Nothing.
The
They
Mortal
just put-
Kombat has
No, not
a
at that
huge
point.
mythos. Absolutely, it does.
It was 3 of them, and it was just beat people up. In a
Yeah, but there were
tournament of fighting.
There were title cards on the game
Yeah, but that's
at the
about it.
arcade, and
That's
you
about
learn the
it.
stories of all the characters that way.
But they also have a story in that. That's whatever. Resident Evil, makeup characters. They have terrible map screens. All the fighting looks lame. The little girl, all of it, just all of it nauseating. The terrible hardcore music soundtrack sounds so cheap.
Yeah, it does.
The zombie Doberman pinchers.
Yeah, that they keep kicking in the face.
Yeah, they just.
She just keeps doing that. Slow mo kick to face. Slow mo kick to face.
They get worse though. The first one is at least the best one.
No, I think that the
Second one?
more that they do, the better it gets. At least it's more crazy. At least more craziness is happening.
We're getting distracted outside of Blade Runner right now.
Yeah,
but
Paul W. Anderson, terrible.
What does
Awful.
it have to do with Blade Runner?
Well, I
Blade Runner,
believe
Blade
it's Kurt Russell's character is a Nexus 6 model. He's in an off-world colony. It's as David Peoples described it, who also worked on the screenplay for Blade Runner. It's a sidequel. It's like a companion. Takes place in the world of Blade Runner. He calls it a sidequel.
I like the name
like
of
a
that.
side.
There should be more of those.
On the
Ant-Man.
side. Yeah.
God, I love this job. Oh man, can't you go any faster? Floor this. I can't. Oh shit, I'm the
My curiosity now is if 2049 is going to actually expand on anything significantly. Of course, the bigger differences between the theatrical version and the director's cut, or even the final cut, is the ending.
Take a risk.
just put this in? They're just like, we don't know what to work with like that.
Blank sky, look good.
Where the fuck did they go? An off-world planet? What? This is a terrible ending. Oh my god. So far it hasn't been as bad as I thought, but goddamn, this ending pisses me off. Oh my god, really? He's just like, everything's great.
Gaff had been there and let her live. 4 years, he figured. He was wrong.
Of course.
Tyrell had told me Rachel was special. No termination date. I didn't know how long we'd have together. Who does?
Where are they? What the fuck?
That's the point.
How'd they get there?
Took a trip.
And the ending, because there's no cut to Unicorn during the daydream sequence in the director's cut, there's no correlation to what the origami sculpture has to do with anything. You get the sense that Gaff showed up at the end, that he could have killed Rachel, and his voiceover in the end when they're driving along the countryside mentions that. But it is just sort of just this random thing that just shows up, and it just has no distinction, there's no connection to anything, and so you're confused when you see it.
I mean, I don't hate it, because it's like, oh, it's like his mark that he's been here, and he's narrating the scenes, and like and you can take it as the unicorn, it's, metallic this time, and she's his unicorn. Go after that mythical thing.
I don't think it means anything.
That's how I can see it. Like, I can see these things as meaning different things.
I felt like they needed to end it. And
but you can I chase that. Go after that. Like, I got here, I left the thing, and I didn't need to kill her.
I don't care what the producers say. That footage of the unicorn is totally from legend.
That's what it just... Why did he take multiple days to shoot multiple terrible unicorn scenes?
It wasn't that bad. I like the way that looks.
I don't know. I don't like
it's
unicorns.
I don't really have an opinion on one.
I think the sequence is fine.
Yeah,
I like
the
sequence.
And I also feel like the end of this movie, like, I was all right with it. I was on board with it. I was like, other than the stupid, voiceover,
and the countryside
this isn't
sequence.
that bad. And then as soon as it gets to that. Yeah. I was like, this is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It seemed like they just filmed it in a garage at Ridley Scott's house because there's just a bright light.
What?
Like his garage, right?
I think it's his garage.
And they just kind of it looks terrible.
A garage?
A garage? Groucho?
It looked terrible. And then it just used outdoor could be very well stock footage. I don't know if that's true. I'm saying they did not film that.
Oh, it doesn't.
And then I honestly thought that it was immediately just going to start with The Shining. Like, that's what it looked like. It looked like the beginning of The Shining, right? When they were going through the Rocky Mountains.
You can totally crossfade that into the...
Yeah, but there's a double feature right there. Just crossfade.
If you were awake, you would have heard us make that joke.
Yeah, fuck face. I was just like, what? Really? And then they're just going to have the guy who wrote bad TV in the 40s to just
Well, it's just that they,
good thing everything good happened and, nothing bad could possibly ever happen. See, she wasn't like all the other ones. She's special. She has unlimited whatever. Life's longer life. The end. Right? You guys just shoved in information overload in the last bad scene out of nowhere.
Would you not watch this new Blade Runner movie if instead of Harrison Ford being in it, what the hell is her name? Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
If Rachel was in it in the exact same role, she's just there and she's all old and same line, she's it's like, look, she made it. She was old, they go completely theatrical cut. That's what they care about. Harrison Ford isn't important.
As long as they go to the planet to see her. And like it ends, the end of this 2049 can be like they're on like a green planet, and like Harrison Ford just slowly turns around, and that's the end of the movie. Right? Yeah.
I'd be
it's
down.
like Star Wars.
I just don't.
Here's my predictions of 2049. It's going to quickly establish that he was an android. That will be set in stone, and they're going to use this as a springboard for more Blade Runner movies.
You think they're going to make another Blade Runner?
Yes. Yes, if it's successful.
I don't think that's like the current plan, though. I don't think that they're like going in this like we're going to have Harrison Ford in for 3 movies.
I don't know if that's true. He probably will die. I'm going to go ahead and on the record right now and say Harrison Ford's going to die in this. Ryan Gosling is going to pick up the torch of Blade Runner. And there will be multiple titles.
It would be like a flashlight.
There will be like 2 more movies at least.
But I don't know.
If it's popular. If
Why
it's
not just one more? Then there would be like a complete trilogy.
Why not make... Well, this is new though. This is the soft reboot, remake, sequel.
It's a direct sequel, apparently.
It's a direct sequel, but it's probably also going to be a soft reboot. There's a reason why they're making it. There's no reason to make this movie. There's absolutely no reason.
We'll see. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
I'm looking at reviews right now. It's looking at like a 98.
Yeah, it's got good reviews.
I mean,
I guarantee you that we'll see another one. If it has if it makes money,
I'm interested.
There will be another Blade Runner.
Oh, this movie's gonna make money.
Oh yeah.
I hope it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Are we all gonna go watch it right now?
I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah, we're gonna slap our review of the new film after this.
Yeah.
And,
so like,
probably be more to talk about than this right now.
By the time
I feel like as much as we have at our disposal with the theatrical cut, there really isn't a lot to say as far as the differences. It makes me start to question if it was really so important. I agree with the decision to alter some shots, like the shot of the dove going out. You know, I'm fine with altering that because obviously it was a piss poor excuse for a shot that fit into a dystopian
the facial
world.
editing they did on Harrison Ford and that kind of stuff, and on the stunt work.
You know, there are some things that I feel like needed some changes, and I understand going and making those cuts, but it's still the same movie.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about watching the theatrical cut this time with Roy Batty killing Tyrell and not seeing his thumbs go into his eye sockets. Yeah. But all of that happening off screen actually had a level of extreme brutality to it because it allowed for my imagination to, figure out what was happening off screen, and that I liked.
And yeah, I don't think you see Sebastian die at all, though.
No, you never do.
I don't think he's mentioned again.
Yeah, no, they mentioned that they found 2 bodies there.
Oh,
and the other body was Sebastian. So like, and I kind of like that because like you just see Roy just stare at Sebastian run, and then that's the end of the scene. I like that. I like when movies don't have to show you everything. But the thing I don't like about the theatrical cut is they tell you everything. I'm surprised that they did that. I'm surprised that like every time there was a scene that could be like a little hard to follow, he was just like, "Well, they killed Sebastian. Funny how friends act towards each other, huh?" Just like always explaining the scene. This is my apartment.
I wish that happened more.
I guess I really
It'd be more fun for me.
like it. I get. Yeah, I wish there was more, just because it would make there would be like more. I don't understand why they only did like 5 minutes of voiceover work, because like there's a YouTube video where you can see all of it. It's like 5 minutes and 6 seconds, and that's it. Why did they add that in there? Why did they feel the need to do that? Because there's so many vast chunks where there is no voiceover. It feels sloppy, thrown together. That's how I would say it.
It's the distributors who were under the impression that with the lack of information available in the film on its own, that it was going to confuse audiences. And you know what? I've shown people the director's cut, the final cut, and they were just, they don't care.
Yeah, it's boring.
It's boring, it's slow moving, there's not enough being handed to you. It surprises me that Warner Brothers even wants to make a sequel. This is, as far as cult films go, this is definitely one of them. Mm-hmm. This is a cult film.
It broke even in the box.
Yeah, it broke.
Lukewarm reviews. Yeah, even the other cuts are inconsistent, and not most of them aren't that good.
It just surprises me that it's so praised and worshipped by so many people nowadays, when in actuality it's one of the more problematic cult films out there because it's very polarizing for audiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it. And I feel like the only two cuts, I know that you have like a sentimental thing with your cut of the movie, but I view it's like final cut or theatrical cut. I don't need to watch this work print, the international cut, or any of that.
Yeah.
No.
The theatrical, I feel like only serves as like this is what it was.
This is
what
how
this
it was
is the
released.
original release. This is what people got when you got Blade Runner, and
Almost.
then you get the final cut, which is as close to Ridley Scott's vision as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two. Everything else is kind of like a work in progress. So I watch it if you're really that interested in Blade Runner.
I feel like you should only have any interest to watch the theatrical cut if you really, really like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's that much more painful to watch because of all of the just blatantly poor decisions that were made to just try and string the film together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do
Don't
you
watch
say?
it first. Don't watch it first.
Yeah.
And if you did, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think that the director's cut is really like that's really Blade Runner. The final cut goes in and just fixes all the little issues.
That's the special edition George Lucas
That's the
style.
special edition, and as opposed to his version, as opposed to his stupid version of fixing things, which is just throwing more animated, dated nonsense from 1999 onto the frame.
They do a little bit of
that
that
thing's
in this.
dancing. That thing's dancing. Look at that.
You think I had a choice?
They actually fix something. There are problems that they see, and they go in and fix.
Yeah,
They make
and
it
Ridley
look
Scott
nicer.
was there, and
It's they make the Blu-ray version. I remember when I first watched that, having watched this my whole life on a VHS tape. Watching that is like what Ridley Scott dreamed of. People watching.
So final summation, theatrical cut.
Nothing.
Watch it if you want.
Watch it if you like Blade Runner, but don't watch it if you don't know Blade Runner, because it's a really bad opinion of Blade Runner.
Or if for some reason you're very upset about thinking that your main character is a robot, this doesn't have that.
Yeah.
If you care about that.
It holds its place in history.
As far as book adaptations go, this is a pretty weak adaptation. Its original inception was just a total.
It's very loose.
Veers very away from the original content of the book. So don't let this be a reflection of if you plan on doing a
just like Shining.
Well, if you're a kid and you plan to do a book report on doing a great stream of Electric Sheep, don't watch this movie because it is completely. It'll be obvious that you didn't read the book.
Yeah.
Just actually read the book.
I mean,
the book's all right.
Different title, different everything.
Book's okay. I don't even really think it's one of Philip K. Dick's better works. It's just one of the works he did, and I think that Blade Runner popularized that.
Well, wasn't Ridley Scott more inspired to do Blade Runner not from the book, but from writing a helicopter in the city of New York?
Yeah, that's the story. So yeah, other than that, it was a movie. It wasn't a great movie.
It's decent. A lot of people argue it's style over substance, but I would say they really...
Style is substance sometimes.
That's fair. I really agree with that. I think that the core themes and ideas are reflective in the mise-en-scène and inform a lot of the world that the characters live in, where they're coming from, how they're a very small part of a larger machine that is sort of just processing humans, not even just simply androids, but like everybody is a part of this process, sort of like when you look at the macroscope shots of the city, everyone's living in this sort of motherboard style circuitry where they're exactly.
Yeah. I also like the fact that there's how many characters in this movie?
Well, I was just about to say that there's 15 total, including like the Eyeball Man and everybody.
Yet it feels so big.
It feels like a whole world,
as opposed to Heat, Michael Mann's Heat, which I really love. It tries to do that and it fucking fails. Like there's so many plot points in that movie that feel like it's bloated. This movie does not feel bloated. This movie only has 15 people in it.
It's over here.
Even though it feels like a giant metropolis that is huge. And they just do that really well.
Let's sign off.
Well, let's watch another movie.
No, fuck that.